And again, as part of romantic revival, another feature that is noticed is that there is a great respect for the past and a great hope for the future. And in Lamb also, you see this great respect for the past. And then another feature is the stress on the innocence of childhood. And so the innocence of childhood also is revealed in the essays of Charles Lamb. And another important part of, or another important feature of romantic revival is the return to nature, back to nature. That is actually, it is seen in the writings of romantic poets like Wordsworth, Coleridge, Shelley, Keats, and so on. For Wordsworth, he had a great fascination for nature. He says that nature is his friend, philosopher, guide, mother, everything. And Wordsworth says that nature will be the remedy or the panacea for the ills of the world. And so, a glorification of nature is another aspect of romantic revival. And in Lamb, you will see a little difference here. That is, Lamb doesn't have any great fascination for village life. For him, London is very much important. Or through his essays, he is trying to interpret the life of London. And critics say that the essays of Charles Lamb is an interpretation of the life of London as it appeared to a quiet little man who walked unnoticed through the streets of London. And so, Lamb has a great fascination for London life. Through his essays, he is trying to interpret London life. And he walks through the busy streets of London, unnoticed by others. Why London is so important to him? Because all his friends, all his relatives, everybody is there in London. That is why he have excessive love for London. And then, as per the norms of the romantic revival, another important point or another important feature that is seen in the poems and the prose works is that the pleasure element is given maximum importance. To be more precise, didacticism or the didactic element disappeared from the writings of prose and again poems. Why? Because earlier classical writers believed that a writer is having a strong obligation towards the society in which he or she lives. And he thought that it is his duty to instruct the reader along with the delight that he provides. Lamb was very particular that his essays should provide pleasure to the reader, and he is concerned only about it. And that is another feature of the romantic revival. And again, you will see a blending of fact and fantasy in his essays. The one that you have to study itself is an example. That is, Lamb purposefully creates a fantasy world Charles Lamb, he gives the title Dream Children a Reverie. Reverie means a daydream. The author is explaining his daydream before the reader. He thinks that his children, John and Alice, are listening to his story. Lamb is telling them about their great grandmother, Mrs. Field. But in the essay, the children are listening closely to the words of Lamb. But towards the end of the essay, it is said that they are not his children because he is a bachelor and he had no children at all. Alice and John are his imaginary children. Actually, in that way, he presents things in a very interesting manner. But a fantasy world, an imaginary world is involved in all his essays. He uses many allusions, pretensions, etc. in his essays to make it more appealing. And in order to learn the biography of the author, you should not be reading his essays because his essay is a blending of fact and fantasy. You are not getting the correct biographical details, even though his essays abound in autobiographical elements. Again, I will give you another example from Dream Children itself. Not the correct information you are getting from the essay. As I told you earlier, here he pretends as a widower with two children, Alice and John. But in reality, we know that Lamb is a bachelor. And so Lamb has no children at all. And again, he tells about his brother John Lamb. He had a brother, elder brother called John Lamb. In the essay, he goes on describing John Lamb as a great man, very sympathetic, very considerate, very loving and affectionate towards his brother Charles Lamb and other members of the family. But actually, his brother was very selfish and he has no interest in the members of the family, and he was living separated from other family members. Actually, Charles Lamb never got any support from this elder brother, and later the brother died. And that is the real thing. And in this essay, towards the end, he says that his sister Bridget is by his side. Actually, his sister's name is Mary Lamb. Purposefully, he makes such changes. And again, in that way, so many instances are there which shows that his prose works are all a blending of fact and fantasy. And again, you will see a blending of humor and pathos in his essays. This is a very important point regarding the essays of Charles Lamb. When you go through his essays, you should not miss the pathos and the humor. And critics say that in his essays, there is a rainbow type of humor. What is the rainbow type of humor? That is a rainbow appears in a cloudy sky, thus illuminating the entire sky. Similarly, the dark life of Charles Lamb, the personal life of Charles Lamb, actually it is very, very miserable, but it is illumined by his humor. And again, if you go to Dream Children, the essay that is prescribed for you, he is narrating very painful experiences. Actually, he was a man who had a great longing for a married life. He wanted to live with a wife and children, but he cannot because of the special circumstances at home. I told you earlier about his sister Mary Lamb. Actually, Mary Lamb had fits of insanity. And she is abnormal during several months of the year. Actually, one day in such a moment of insanity, with a kitchen knife, she had stabbed their mother to death. And Lamb was the first person to see the accident. And Mary Lamb was set free by the court on the ground that she is insane. And the court warned Charles Lamb to take special care of Mary. And after that, Charles was actually living for Mary. There is a type of interdependence in their case. Lamb depends on Mary for love, affection, and Mary actually gets the support of Lamb. Actually, Charles looks after Mary. And so, his life is a very miserable one. He was a man who never have enjoyed any happiness in life. The only enjoyment he got is from his literary works. And so, in the story, he pretends as a widower. Actually, he is a bachelor. He gives the name of his sister as Bridget, but actually she is Mary. And in the essay, John Lamb is presented as a very loving brother, smart, intelligent, handsome, etc. But in reality, he is very selfish and he is totally estranged from his family members. And so remember, this is the freedom of the writer. And this is the style of Charles Lamb. And in order to understand his biography, you should not turn to his literary works. And you will see lot of exaggeration in his work. But remember, he is a man who loved solitude. And in Dream Children, he uses a phrase called busy idle hours. Oxymoron is the figure of speech that is used in this phrase. Busy idle hours. Actually, two negatives are joined together for a greater effect. If you are a busy person, you can't be idle. If you are idle, you will never be busy. But such two negative ideas are clubbed together for a greater effect. And so, such usages are in plenty in the works of Lamb. And use of parenthetical clues, use of allusions, use of exaggerations and hyperboles all add a special beauty and charm to his essays. Even though some critics are of the opinion that he should not be using such a style because it makes his essays obscure and difficult for the reader to understand. And again, Lamb, he enjoys solitude, as I have told you earlier. He makes digressions, he makes exaggerations. Again, he had written plenty of essays. One important essay is Oxford in the Vacation. All are equally interesting, but in this essay, you will see the writers earning the great longing for the university education. Another essay that he has written is Old China, where you see the author talking about the expensive things which he cannot aspire in his life. And again, in My Relations, he talks about the lack of near relatives. And so, remember, his essays are autobiographical, but they are not fully autobiographical. A blending of fact and fantasy is seen in his writings. And again, remember, he adopts a conversational style, and through his essays, he makes a heart-to-heart talk with the reader. And even though the essays are subjective, the reader is getting lot of information by reading his essays. And in the South Sea House, that is another essay, where the author talks about the monotonous, dull work that is done by a clerk in a government office. Very realistic are his essays. Excellent essays they are. And then now I hope that you will remember these important points with regard to the essays of Lamb. Remember the Romantic revival that comes in the early 19th century has influenced Charles Lamb a lot. And then as per the Romantic revival, there is a great fascination for the past that is also seen in his writings, a hope for the future. Another feature of Romantic revival is seen. And then an emphasis on the individuality or the personality of the writer that also is revealed in his essays, which are informal. And then the back to nature policy that is seen in Romantic revival, that also is seen, but it is clear that Lamb doesn't have a great fascination for village life as Wordsworth or Coleridge had, because he loved London, and through his essays he is trying to interpret the life of London. The people of London, all his friends and relatives live in London. That is why he has an unusual fascination for London life. And so the critics say that his essays are an interpretation of the life of London. He is walking through the streets of London unnoticed by others. And so such a style is seen in his writings. Then the blending of fact and fantasy, the blending of humor and pathos, the usage of Latin phrases, digressions, exaggerations, autobiographical elements. All these things are seen in his writings. Always remember, he uses a very friendly, conversational, colloquial style, thereby establishing a good rapport with the reading community. And again, he had 2 collections of essays, and his essays are excellent. The essays, they are called the Essays of Elia, and Elia is his pseudonym.